Hey everyone, welcome back. So, I often get the question, how do I pick a typeface for my project? And that's a very good question. I mean, we always face this dilemma when starting a project that doesn't necessarily have a typeface chosen. Sometimes a client will come to you with an established brand guideline with established typeface guidelines, and sometimes they're okay, and that's an optimal scenario. Sometimes they aren't necessarily optimized for web. Sometimes the typefaces don't have enough variance, and they really stop you from creating enough contrast on the screen, and they may not be good for mobile and whatever type of application or product you're trying to build. That does happen. And I feel like sometimes you just need to sit down with your client and have a real good discussion on what you can do to extend that type family or extend that type system. Another scenario is often people come to you with just one typeface, and it happens often. Sometimes that typeface is very good. It has a lot of styles, and it just doesn't suit the tone of their product or their company or their organization. So let's come up with a little fake organization over here. So if we call something like the Phillips Foundation. So I did have a client come up to me one time, and, they were a charity, and we were building a new website for them. And their font was Montserrat. Don't get me wrong, I love this font, but to be your only typeface, I mean, even if the font family is huge, let's take a look at this. So many different styles. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to suit what you're trying to achieve. So we're going to create a quick logo over here. So I'll use similar colors to their brand. Had this yellow like that, and like a teal. So we'll just grab a teal over here. Okay. Cool. So this is their logo. Looks cool, right? Not really. I mean, it's quick. Okay. So we have the logo for them, and we noticed that, okay, their text system isn't necessarily the best. They may have a headline. They may have some body copy, and what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to plugins and grab lorem ipsum. We'll do this really quick. So we have one paragraph. That is huge, so we're just gonna go down in size, just 16. And we are going to go to regular and make sure the line height is around 150%. So even they may have a headline like that, they may have other types of things like a button. So let's just create a quick button. We're going to make that a frame, and then we're going to do here is we're going to go to auto layouts. And we're going to put in this really quickly, just so I can show you what this kind of looks like. So 48 pixel button and height is good. So you can see the frame over there, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it a border radius of 5 pixels. Still can't see anything. The selection colors is the text, so I'm going to change that to white, and I'm going to turn this on the fill and make it black. And we can even use the color. Let me go darker. And let's make that typeface bold. Oh, too bold. Okay. So, you may get something like this. And for a foundation that wants to, really evoke a sense of tradition, I mean, something like this is it's a good font, but it's just not enough. So what I usually do is the first step is to kind of break this out a bit. So I start thinking, okay, the headline can be what can you do to help? So maybe this is a section on their website. And I think maybe that's one of the main titles, and I may bump that up a bit to 40 pixels. And then I may have a sub headline, and I could be charity or donations. I may keep that in all caps. What I'm trying to do here is create a lot more variance in the types of like headlines we have, body copy, just to see if there's enough variance in here that would actually like match the tone of the brand. So what I'll do here is I'll just create a little more letter spacing. I may bump this down to like 24 pixels. Start matching the brand colors. Maybe using those a little bit more could help. They can. They definitely can. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to keep on extending this out because we're going to work here. So we have learn more button. Stop moving. There we go. I may grab like a pull-out quote. Maybe this is like a medium italic. And this can be like bumped up to like 24 pixels. It's all about experimentation in the end. You really want to kind of have fun with it. Try to figure out like different ways you can create a little bit more visual interest. That's starting to work, and it's not looking too bad at all, but I don't think it's enough at this point. Right now, what I would do is I would go kind of searching for different fonts, and when I think about charities and when I think about different types of organizations that have been around for so long, I start thinking about like the different types of typefaces that would really, capture that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to start thinking about maybe some serif typefaces. So one serif typeface that I like a lot is called Palatino. So let me grab like a serif typeface like that. And all of a sudden, it starts to have a little bit of a different feel. Maybe something else. Let's search for it. All the way. Allegra is a really nice one. A really nice Google font. So we're just gonna search. All the way up, all the way up. What do we got here? We're getting closer. Okay, there it is. So, like, this is nice. And, it's a little bit modern, which is totally fine, 100%. Maybe that's not enough, line height. But the goal here is to start creating a little bit more of contrast, but also introducing another type pairing that could work really well with something like Montserrat. I think this is still fine. Like, we could even bump that down just a bit. Over here, we can also like apply that typeface. Like, look at that. And all of a sudden, like, we start thinking about, okay, this now looks like an organization that has more history. Organization that's much more traditional. Not too traditional, still has some like modern elements to it. So when I approach like type pairings like that, I'm really thinking about the brand. I'm always going back to that and like the utility of the typeface and how they work together. Is there enough visual contrast here? Another test I like to do is I like to use the squint test, I call it. So I'll just squint very, very hard and I'll look and I'll start seeing if everything starts to blur together and then make adjustments based off of that. So over here, we kind of start to build a little bit of a type system. We start to see that, okay, this may be like our body copy. This may be like our sub-headlines, our main headlines. This will be like a quote or button text. And you just keep going based off of what you know, based off of the wireframes you created, based off of the sitemap that you created and all the different type of, content that you believe will be on the product that you're creating. So that's one way to handle a scenario where, a client comes to you and they may only have one typeface to work with. We went from something like this to something like this fairly quickly. And I think if we are going for a sense of tradition, if we were going for, to match the tone of the brand and what they stand for, then, something like this probably works a bit better. When you come into that scenario, remember to just talk with your clients, explore all your options, go through the process of building, trying to work with what they have and to see if that typeface can work. Is it versatile? Does it match the tone of the brand? And then, explore beyond. maybe this isn't the right font for here. Maybe it's like a medium. Maybe it's a different font altogether. Those are the types of things that you can do to really help your clients out in terms of picking typefaces for them.